Hello, budding unicorn chefs at home, and welcome to yet another episode of Unicorn Chef. This one, we're going to have fun with a new device. So, as with everything, I'm a big fan of us not having fancy equipment as mandatory. So, if you want another way to do this, I told Zach he is required to come up with alternate methods so that you don't have to have an immersion blender to be able to do this. Zach, welcome to the show. What charity are we highlighting tonight?
It's a charity that's near and dear, one I've been involved with in the past, and it's called Orphan Outreach. It's a parachurch organization that works with various orphanages throughout the world, usually working with kids who suffer from some form of medical issue or neglect. Specifically, I'm looking at the Gansabra home in Mizoram, India, which is like the northeastern state of India. Like, you have the big triangle of India, then you have the little cordoned off section just to the northeast, and they focus on kids who have AIDS or HIV, and just in giving them a home and giving them easier access to the medication that they need, and then ultimately giving them life skills and getting them back out into the real world to be able to operate like everybody else that they can.
And how do folks donate to that?
And I've personally been. You can follow the links that were provided. It's wow, suddenly.
Don't worry. While you're doing that, yeah, I'll pull them up.
I believe it's Orphan Outreach. So yeah. All right.
Here we go. I got the link. I'm gonna roll that across the bottom of the. There we go. So folks can see it. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So follow the link, you go there, and then, yeah, you can find that Gansabra home, you can donate to it. And usually what that does is, again, it helps give them general funds, and it can also be used to help with the people that bring other groups that are going to hang out with the kids. I got to go there back in 2019, and despite all the money, the things that help these kids, because of the stigma around HIV and around AIDS, the biggest thing these kids need are people that honestly just love on them, that go there and treat them like human beings, that hug them and play with them. That to them is worth a year's worth of medication emotionally. And so they send people like me who go over there and play tag with them and spend time with them and tell stories to each other. And it's just a really awesome thing. And it was one of those things that until you go and experience a world that, especially like a third world environment, it really shifts your perspective on the world around you. And it just kind of blew me away when I was there to see people who were so content with relationship. And so, yeah, just kids I love over there, and would love to see them get supported in any way possible.
All right. For those of you who are cooking along with us at home, use the hashtag Unicorn Chef. We love to see what you make as well. And if you make this on some other day, still tag us. We'll get to it eventually. Same thing with the donations. Please let us know when you donate. To date, we've raised probably about $12,000 over the course of the show to different charities. And we always kind of like to keep tabs on what we're doing to help make the world better. First question, Zach, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a local brewery and pub restaurant called Wild River. They have this Double Eagle Stout that I'm drinking, because I figure if I'm doing New York steak and I'm doing mushrooms and I'm doing blue cheese, man, I'm not messing around. I'm just going hard and heavy across the board with those big earthy, kind of muddy flavors, and I'm just committing to it. What about you? What are you drinking?
So the drink I always get when I go to a bar is a Black Velvet. It is a Guinness Stout, 50% and 50% cider. So the best of both worlds without the worst of either. When you say local brewery, is that local to the football team that you're wearing, or are you just a fair weather fan?
Oh, well, if I'm still wearing this after that loss in the Super Bowl, then I don't think we can call me fair weather. But no, I'm not even displaced. I started out as a Chiefs fan, living on the West Coast. I've never even visited my home team. I've never gotten a chance to get out to Kansas City. So I live in Southern Oregon right now. Medford is the city that I live in, to be exact. And Wild River is a local brewery around here. And so, yeah, I am supporting them. And and what they do, and then supporting the team I love through thick and thin and this crazy, sad off season right now.
I'm a Washington football team fan, so I have no sympathy.
Oh,
yeah,
fair
thank
enough. I got nothing.
All right, let's start cooking. What are we doing?
All right. Okay, so I worked in restaurants for a while, waiter, busser, you name it. And one of the things I learned is always try and aim to have a full meal ready at the beginning. So the things that take the longest, we should get going first. So we're going to get started with the asparagus. I've already pre-trimmed my asparagus, but I have a few extra here. That one of the tricks I learned a while ago is you can chop your asparagus. Like you can go and you can just find a spot that makes them look even. But generally speaking, when you're prepping asparagus, you can usually just find a spot and it'll just snap off at a spot it wants to go, which is that kind of that woody spot, breaks off evenly. And so it's fun. You can get out some late day stress by just breaking some asparagus. So I already prepped that. Hey,
that is a first I've ever heard in my life, is breaking asparagus to work out stress. My boss!
See, it felt good. And then what I usually do is I live in a house with a lot of kids, so I already make a lot of dishes regularly. I have 4 kids who my wife is being so kind and like coordinating them off upstairs. So I already make enough dishes in the day that I like to avoid making too much. So when I am making vegetables like this and I'm seasoning them, I like to use Ziploc bags because it allows me to put the vegetables in, any of my seasoning, kind of rub around, shake it, and distribute it so everything gets seasoned nicely. And so I'm just going to go. I take my asparagus. I'm going to drop it in the bag. Real high tech here. But you say you don't like using fancy stuff, right? So
yeah. So the trick I use for plastic bags these days is I have the vacuum seal bags that I use for just about everything because everything keeps longer, and they're reusable. So it's a great way to save the environment.
Oh, that's even better. Now I feel bad.
That's what I do. I make all my guests feel bad at least once. Some more than others.
That's appropriate, and I appreciate it. I don't know what a day is without a little guilt to go with it. So, and then, from there it gets real simple. Get some olive oil. Your measuring spoon, tablespoon in this case, we're going to go at 2 tablespoons.
Olive oil.
I'm not going to lie, it's one of the few times I probably actually used the tablespoon. Usually I just kind of eyeball it and hope for the best.
That's what I did.
And then, just, real simple. You get your salt and your pepper in there. Season it up. I'm trying to figure out where I said everything today. There's my salt. And there we go, a little salt, pepper, get it in there, mix it around, distribute it really well. Sometimes you can get fancy. You can throw other stuff in there. You can throw some minced garlic, essentially whatever you want.
Is the minced garlic from the recipe going to go in the asparagus?
No, the minced garlic from the recipe goes to our aioli.
Oh, okay. I'm going to throw a little in with asparagus.
Like I said, the best thing is you can make it your own. I'm not going to lie, I had things go sideways. My grocery store was out of Crimini Mushrooms, and I didn't want to go eat Bella's, but they had some shiitakes. So today I'm actually using shiitakes instead of Crimini, but they all work.
Yeah, I got Baby Bella's.
There you go. See, my wife coerced me through brutal assault of TikTok videos until I actually started watching them. And I just saw one. I know. You can judge me more. And apparently I found out that portobellas and creminis are all the same mushroom in just different stages of growth anyways. So
I didn't know that.
There we go. I mean, it's only true if TikTok tells me I know now. So that's the important thing. It's not good enough just to be the internet anymore. Now it has to be TikTok for it to be true.
Well, if the Chinese haven't stolen it, does it really exist?
See? There we go. So after that's all done, you can put it on a baking sheet. If you want, you can put parchment paper down. I'm just going to put them on the sheet because the oil is going to keep it from sticking anyways, and I always end up doing more cleanup anyways. I had my oven already preheated at 350 degrees for this. So I'm going to go ahead and toss them in.
All right, I'm going to do mine on the stove, and I'm going to need about 3 minutes to catch up with you. So while you're doing that, why don't you tell us what you did in a prior lifetime that led you to being punished by being on this show?
Well, I told you, I worked in the restaurant industry. I worked for a really cool restaurant in Redding, California called Moonstone Bistro. The chef there is essentially like what you would see from like the crazier side of food they wouldn't put on the air. Not full Anthony Bourdain, but he definitely wanted to get there. And so really crazy, intelligent guy, really good food. It probably really pulled me out of my like Applebee's, Red Robin food lifestyle into something that was better. And so I did that for a long time. And then I ended up going into just becoming like a cell phone salesman. I worked for the big companies for a few years doing that, like 6 years of my life. And I kind of just kept from there, taking a journey through various professional work. I became a call center manager for a call center based in Manila, handling tech support for weather stations and alarm clocks that project the time on the ceiling. Yeah, I know. And then from there, I did a lot of account management with them as well. We worked, is my introduction to things like EDI, the digital transmission of orders, all that with Amazon and Bass Pro Shops, all that stuff. Ended up having our IT guy left, and I had to start supporting like a SQL server I had no idea what to do with. And so began kind of learning some IT up there. Eventually that company, amazingly, a company that focuses on weather stations and digital alarm clocks that project the time on the ceiling, doesn't have a huge market. Started downsizing pretty effectively, and so I got out of that, became a purchaser for a manufacturing company that did like all kinds of components for like the silicon industry. And I got recruited as a purchaser there to start being an IT technician because they needed an IT guy who liked to talk to people. And that became my favorite.
So you're a people person.
Spiral. I am a people person. I have been told, I've never given this a study, but all the people who are hip on the Enneagram, apparently I'm a 7, is what I know. And if you ask me if I know what that means, I don't. But apparently it means I like people. So
you are extroverted, optimistic, versatile, and spontaneous. You are playful, high-spirited, and practical. See, now that sounds like one of those like zodiacs there, where it's like you're playful but practical. Like anybody could be that. It's too many things. It's contradictory. Are you a contradiction? Are you a walking contradiction? Is that why you're in Oregon and you're wearing the Chiefs?
Fun thing about yes. Funnier thing about that is the new company I work for now, where I'm a systems administrator overseeing mobile device management. They had me take a personality test where they just use 4 basic colors to determine who you are and what you do. And they gave me these 2 colors that were yellow and blue, and they told me that those 2 colors don't go together. And I said, that makes green. They said, no, green's a different color. I said, but you gave me it. But all that to say is apparently yellow is the social butterfly that I am, and blue is cold analytical. And they said that those 2 things don't go together. So they thought I broke the test, but I wasn't going to retake it. So yes, I am a walking contradiction per all the personality tests you can take. I don't put a lot of stock in them, but it's good for me to give other people the information so that way they can run with whatever preconceived notions they have.
All right, I got my
How you doing on
asparagus going.
asparagus?
So, yeah, no, it's
Sweet.
in here. I'll be tending it. What's next?
Let's make some aioli. So you said you had the new toy. I thought you were handling the alternate, but we'll be okay either way. This here is something you can buy at any store pretty much for like $15. Yeah. It's an immersion. Mine's an immersion blender. I can't quite see what yours is. You have the immersion as well? Okay, there we go. Yeah. My high-tech tape holding my phone up to the cabinet doesn't let me see everything. So immersion blenders are great. They're just a really small blender that you can put into bowls and such that allow you to kind of do a very narrow type of blend. You can also use this with any food processor, standard blender. I just like this because it allows me to make small batches without making a big mess. So anything I'm doing here, you can actually just do in a blender and be fine. And so here's what we're going to do. So one of the important things I put in the instructions on this is to get your egg yolks up to like room temp. Whenever you do cold egg yolks, it just doesn't turn out. And this is pretty easy here. Oh, actually, as part of this, sorry, before we jump to that, because I'm totally out of sorts here right now, rosemary. This is kind of a fun part of the dish where this aioli will be really bright because of the lemon juice, but the rosemary adds a lot of flavor and aroma to it. And it gives that extra little bit of something to the aioli. So what you can do is you can just take some rosemary, pull the needles off, and then just go ahead. You don't need to do a super fine chop. You can just do a rough chop.
We call it rustic to be romantic.
Just a break. Sorry, I had a call try and come in. I'm still here.
I was just, so the joke on our show is anytime we don't do a precision cut, we just call it rustic. And that has a very romantic sound for like, good enough. It's rustic. Yeah, see? Marketing.
See? There we go. Marketing. So do a rustic cut on your rosemary. And then all you're going to do here now, and what I like about this is that pretty much it's just kind of a dump and blend situation. With the exception of the oil, you want to ease the oil in. I'm just going to take my egg yolks. All right,
so hold on. Wait. What should I have in my aioli right now? I got my egg yolks. I've got my rosemary. What else?
Rosemary, your lemon juice. Your mustard powder. So I got, now I'm catching up here with you, it looks like. And then salt and your garlic.
Is there such thing as too much garlic?
Never heard of it. Honestly, if you filled this thing halfway up with garlic, you would probably be better off in a place. Trying to see where. Oh, there it is. Now, I'm a cheater and I'm kind of lazy, so I just use the pre-minced garlic most of the time because, again, my evergreen excuse is I got 4 kids, so the time to do fancy cooking with garlic and everything is pretty limited. I love my kids. I use them as a scapegoat, but I love them dearly. I just want to be clear about that.
Kids are good for two
my
things,
kids
right?
I have an
Scapegoats
8-year-old
and
daughter.
slave labor.
Yeah, absolutely. I use both. And so I got an 8-year-old daughter, a nearly 6-year-old son, a nearly 3-year-old son, and an 8-month-old daughter. And they are fantastic. My wife is the true hero of the house. I just make her life difficult as a rule. So you can always be thinking good thoughts about her. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's get the lemon juice. My daughter was excited about this though because she is a huge unicorn fan.
I'll have to send you some stickers and a coloring book.
She would love it. The very first sign she ever put up in her room was a sign that said unicorns are real. Like it was one she made and just slapped it up on the door like she will brook no arguments with anybody. It's unicorns are real, and that is that. Let's see here.
Well, hold on. So what does she think we're having for dinner?
I've heard her that we are not cooking unicorn tonight. I told her I can't guarantee that on every night, but I told her it would not be tonight. So she seemed to handle that okay. She's still talking to me. So my trick with the aioli when I'm making it, by the way, is I put half the oil in first, just as at the get-go. And then I add as necessary from there. So in this case, I'm putting a third of a cup in. And then I'll have the other third of a cup primed. I realize I'm probably not doing this in the easiest spot for you guys to see, so I'll come over here with that. So let's see here. Got that? All right, so you got the, so again, you can just do this all in a blender. It's almost easier sometimes because you have the spout. You can just pour stuff in the top. But from here, I'm just gonna put it in and get blended. I also like the immersion blender because it's considerably quieter. Now, I can't hear you. Are you still talking over there? You're not talking. You can hear me though.
I don't want to compete with the blender.
Why not? It's fun. Right.
So what do you do in InfoSec these days?
Well, I don't do security outside of maintaining the patching portions with our mobile devices and making sure that everything's going well in that regard. That, you know, if there's new iOS updates specifically that's going to patch things, or Android updates, I facilitate those. But really, I oversee about 1,500 mobile devices, making sure that people who use them can do their job and that they're safe and secure on the network. I work really closely with our InfoSec team to make sure that that's facilitated. I consistently go to them and say, "Can you say no to this for me?" And they say yes, and I say, "Great, thank you."
Can you share what kind of MDM you use for that?
Yeah, we use Workspace ONE, which is the AirWatch successor. So VMware. Mm-hmm. And it's good. I can't tune. Calling me. That's why we don't recommend using phones for this, huh? So I've used Intune before. So moving to Workspace ONE was like a dream because it actually has a usable UI. So, all right. So when I'm done, and by the way, you want to keep blending for a while. It won't thicken up right away, but when it does, I like to take it to like a thick pudding. Maybe a little bit more here. There we go. By the way, the reason why I like the aioli is the all-in-one tool. For me, it's going to help create a really nice crust on the steak today. But aside from that, it's also super tasty. I went and visited like the United Kingdom at one point. Oops, there we go. And I noticed they dip their fries in mayonnaise, and I thought that was the grossest thing on the face of the planet. But then when I start making my own mayonnaise, so to speak, which means that aioli is just glorified mayonnaise, you know, it's very tasty. It's essentially the same basis you use to make a lot of dressings and things like that. It's just but you can make it your own flavors, and that's why I like making it. And then the steak thing is totally unnecessary for it, but I think it's fun, which is why I do it. You know, you can with a little oil in the pan, you kind of create that anyways. But in this case, I like the acidity from the lemon. and a little bit of that rosemary sneaks in. And I think that adds a little bit of flavor, especially again, because we're going to go into this, gorgonzola, blue cheese, and mushrooms, which are really these big, deep, earthy flavors. So having a little lemon in there to kind of cut it is just kind of a benefit. So what was interesting for this week is I decided to try something new while doing this show, because that's a smart thing to do when you're going into an unknown area to introduce other variables. Highly recommend to always do multiple new things at once. And so I did my own homemade dry age on my steaks. So I'm going to take a drink to that.
How'd you do it?
Honestly, I have a fridge in my garage. So I just got them nice and already dry. I gave them a good salt over the, all throughout. Put them on a non-reactive sheet, tossed them in the fridge, and just left them in there for a few days. And so they started out at about probably 1.25 inches thick. But with a dry age, you have to cut off some. So I'm probably down to about an inch here on the steak. When you do the dry age, it kind of creates a hard pellicle, if you've ever cured salmon or does something like that, that pellicle is kind of that tough layer on the outside that creates. And dry aging does the same effect. So you kind of want to trim that off so you can start accepting everything again. But the dry age is supposed to enhance the flavor of everything. And like I said, I was already doing a bunch of new things. Why not throw another variable in? So with that being said, I have my beef. Our aioli is made. Is your aioli good? Are you happy with it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you taste it?
Yep.
Perfect. So I'm just going to take some salt and pepper. So I'm going to season the meat first. I'll put the aioli over that. And I'm heavy-handed with salt because it's like the next thing to garlic for me. And I don't see cardiologists yet, so it's okay.
So where's your steak from? You dry aged it yourself, but where's it originally from?
It's a local. I bought a side of beef from a local ranch. So it was J Bar Ranch in Jacksonville, Oregon, is where I got them from. It's a nice grass-fed, like Angus. It's Angus hybrid with something else. But anyways, I got a bunch of steaks off of them. So I figured I'm going to have some fun with this and try it out. Admittedly, this is a huge risk for me because I've decided after buying this that I'm not a huge grass-fed, like complete start to finish grass-fed person. I probably prefer the flavor of a grain finished more based on what I've consumed in the past. But dang it, I spent the money on these, so I'm going to play around with them and have fun and enjoy them and figure out different ways to work with them. Part of the reason I'll do like a heavy sauce with this. Pardon me, this phone is about to fall. So thanks everybody for putting up. There we go.
Mine is from Kansas. Kansas City
Cattle
Company. Yep.
Oh, is that
American Wagyu?
Oh, see, and that's why I didn't want to show mine because mine doesn't have as much marbling. I've seen Lean. I know Lean is a regular on here. I've seen all the pictures of the meat she cooks for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I am severely jealous, and that's fine. If you can have nice things, you should get them, and I envy you guys that. We do not have any local Wagyu around here that I found. So, also, I think I would. I'm a spendthrift in a lot of ways, so I probably wouldn't even allow it.
It's a little pricey. I don't eat a lot of steak. I'll only occasionally eat steak because I just don't. Red meat is not great to eat all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we do a ton of pork in our house. I'm not a huge chicken fan. I don't know. We get like the Costco rotisserie chickens quite often because those are tasty. But I do a lot of barbecue. I like to pretend I'm from Kansas City as much as I can. So I do a lot of barbecuing and smoking, and so I do a lot of pork butts and stuff like that, and we'll smoke some whole chickens. So I even prefer doing I don't even like doing steaks as often anymore because of it's just simply it's a lot more work. I can cook a roast with way less effort. And it's funny because we talk about like fancy things people have that they cook with. Like we have an Instant Pot. We probably use it a lot, but then everybody kept talking to me about how they cook everything in a Dutch oven. So I went and bought a basic cast iron and porcelain enamel Dutch oven, and that's probably my new favorite toy in the kitchen. So
I made a coq au vin with an oven on Sunday.
Oh, I remember you posting about that.
Yeah. Should I be heating up my pan for steak, or what am I doing here?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go ahead and get your pan running on medium heat. Or you can, some people like to go high first and then bring it down. Whatever gets it to that nice heat. Again, we're only going to have the steak on there for about 8 minutes. So, yeah.
All right.
All right. And
did you say you were pouring your aioli over the steak? You're doing that afterward, right?
Oh, no. I'm going to use it to sear to create a flavor
on
the outside.
All right. So I'm dipping my steak in the aioli.
Okay. I like to save it because I'm going to pour it over other stuff later. So I go and I dish it out on top. But to each their own.
All right. Nope. I follow what we're doing now.
There we go.
I'll use another. All right. So we're going to take advantage of the fats in the aioli to create that Maillard reaction for the steak.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course,
I haven't done this with an aioli before. This is different.
Neither have I. I said I wanted to try new things, and I've done it with regular mayonnaise before, so I thought I'd try it with an aioli because it's the same thing, right?
All right.
Well, you think I'm going to come in here with something after all the conversation we've had so far? You thought I'd already done this before?
No, I'm concerned about the rosemary burning.
Well, be careful.
Oh, do it carefully. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
This is the kind of sage advice you get from a unicorn chef.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That probably will happen. Just do it carefully.
Do it carefully. Is it inevitable? Sure.
And that's why this show is free. Exactly,
right? You will not see me on any version, or at least I won't last long if I ever made it to like Chopped or anything like that. Because, they'd be like, "You're an idiot." I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm here for the ratings, not for the quality of cook." So my pan is pretty hot. Because I'm using cast iron, I just habitually always put another layer of like vegetable canola oil in, just to help continue to increase the seasoning. It's like if I'm going to use it, I might as well always take that extra opportunity, especially because I'm going to be creating that cream, like that sauce in there later, that it might take away from that a little bit. So giving it that extra bit of protection. I use my cast iron for everything.
I'm about ready. Yeah, I use cast iron too. So I'm ready for my cast iron.
Nice.
All right. Here we go.
All right. I got sizzle. My nizzle. I feel like that's a joke from my era that wouldn't go over the same these days. Snoop Dogg's still relevant, right?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I know Ice Cube's still around.
He is. He says stuff on the internet. I was laughing. I in my college years, I'm 37 this year. Yeah, that sounds right. But a kid I mentored who was like a middle schooler, he has like 2 kids now. I just realized how old I am because that was while I was in college. So I continually feel old, and that's okay.
Oh, just wait till you get older.
Oh, I know, right? That's what I've been told.
Oh, I do know. I am older. I speak from experience.
All righty. So let's see here. I've worked in. Oh, you doing okay?
No, I just want to know what's next. So, I mean, my steak is probably going to get flipped here in about 2 minutes. And what else should I do?
So after that, we'll put the steak and then just put it on something to rest. Will be the next step. I'm gonna check on my asparagus. Oh, my asparagus is good. So I'm actually gonna turn off the oven. I probably took my asparagus a little too far, but that's what happens when you talk a lot and you get interested in other things.
I warned you.
The thing is my problem is I didn't stop talking while I cooked. You talked about there's 2 people. I apparently fell into the keep talking and stopped worrying about what I was doing with cooking and multitasking. Apparently, there's more than the 2 types. There's I can talk about the one thing I'm cooking while I'm going, but forget about everything else I'm working on. So I'm going about a couple of minutes on the side here. I'm venting some heat out of the oven. What I'll probably do is toss that steak just right on that pan in the oven while it's cooling down. It can hang out with the asparagus because, again, I like to limit my dirty dish creation. Also, my yard reaction is beautiful on this, so I'm approving this methodology, and I'm not getting a whole lot of burnt rosemary here. So, if any.
Yeah, no, I'm doing this at a lower temperature than I usually cook steak, so my rosemary is also not burning.
See, and
I typically prefer a high sear.
I agree with you. I think we both instinctually said, "Oh no, let's keep something from burning." So, again, the sage advice from Unicorn Chef: if you think you're going to burn something, don't cook at such a high heat. Trying to think if there's anything other interesting I can tell you. I'm a huge nerd as a whole. I'll own that. I know this seems surprising on this whole conversation we've had, but I grew up reading the Marvel comic books, and I actually felt bad for DC for the first time ever after watching the Snyder Cut, because I thought you guys had a legitimately good movie, and you threw it all away. So,
have you seen the Zack Snyder Cut?
Yeah, I just watched it. I started a week ago and I finished it yesterday. So it was good to take the whole week off of work just to watch it. It was good. It was good. No, I mean it was. Like I said, it made me feel bad for all the DC fans because there was legitimately a good movie out there for them, and it got scrapped. Like they had the original Wonder Woman and then like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, and then nothing for a while, and then this could have been so good.
I just rewatched the one with Heath Ledger. I still have not seen the third one with Bane. It's never available anywhere on the streaming platforms.
Yeah, I think I own it. I at one point got a box set of DVDs that included it. I don't know what my DVDs are since I just pretty much stream everything.
Yeah, I don't know what DVDs are. It's like cassettes or eight tracks.
It's right there with my beta.
That was a DVD.
Cool. It's my laser disc. I have a buddy who actually has a pretty solid laser disc collection. But some of you kids out there, if you guys are like under 30, you won't even know the joy of being in school and your teacher busting out a laser disc for you to watch. All right, so steak's finishing. I got my other end again. I'm still venting the heat from the oven. I'm going to drink some beer. I'm really hopeful that the Marvel Cinematic Universe can rescue Fantastic Four from its multiple torturous beatings that it's received under Fox.
Who cares about Fantastic Four?
I love the Fantastic Four.
Why?
I can't.
I mean, I never found them that interesting. I mean, it was like a bunch of scientists with some like random, superpowers.
Well, it's admittedly the early stuff. The later stuff really falls into a lot of ethical areas that they find themselves challenging, and it created a much more interesting storylines. So, yeah, it is what it is. Everybody enjoys different things, and
oh yeah, that's I got a nice crust going.
Excellent. Got a little bit longer here. I'm going to pull it off and then toss it in this hopefully cool down oven. And then we'll just make that mushroom and cream and cheese sauce, and it should be really good. I feel like
Wait, what am I doing with the shallots?
Oh, the shallots are going to go in after we pull the steak out.
With the mushrooms and the blue cheese, right?
Yes.
What about the beef broth? Is that what I'm doing to make my
The
gravy?
Yeah, the beef broth will go in to help reduce things down.
All right.
I
So
also make my
shallots
own,
first.
I also make my own beef broth because when I bought the cow, they gave me the beef soup bones. So, in case you're about to ask me where I get my beef broth from, I make that as well.
I don't judge a broth because broth takes extra effort to have ready.
Yeah, in this case, we make a bunch and we freeze it, so I just thawed it out. It was good.
So typically for me, when I'm doing broth, shrimp, chicken, or beef, it's for a specific recipe, like a bisque, or if I'm making pho, or chicken soup.
Okay. Yeah, we use chicken broth a ton. We use a ton of that because we make it when we make rice and when we make mashed potatoes. Because it adds a lot of flavor instead of just using water. All right. So is your steak out of the pan?
Yep, it's already off to the side and resting. I got my shallots in there. I did that for about a minute.
All right, you're ahead of me again, man. So my wife and I were going to try Whole30 at one point, but with the nursing baby, didn't like the effects of that food, and so I had bought this Costco giant tub of ghee, which is like essentially clarified butter, and so now I'm just using it as my cooking butter all the time as I try and burn through that giant thing. So I'm going to sweat the shallots, and then I'm going to put the mushrooms in. I might have written this backwards. I apologize if I did to anybody who actually read the instructions. I thought about putting a little bit of the beer in the sauce, but I just wanted it all for myself tonight. All right. So shallots are going. They're getting translucent. And I'm going to dump the mushrooms in. This is probably a lot of mushrooms for a single steak that I'm making, but I'll eat them all because I'm a fun guy.
So I got a question from the audience here. You have kids. You've been forced to watch lots of movies you don't have the choice of seeing or not seeing. Have you seen Santa Paws or Santa Paws 2?
Okay, Santa Claus or Santa Paws?
Santa Paws, like dog.
Oh, I got really excited. I'm like, dude, I'm a kid group in the 90s. Of course I watched the Tim Allen. No, I did not. I don't think I've even seen Air Bud. I don't think I've watched any of. My kids have never even asked to watch them, so I don't know. I've watched a lot of the Disney movies, but no, I have not seen Santa Paws, or if I have, I don't remember. So, and you can judge me for whatever way, and I'll let you create the reason why I may not remember totally on your own.
I have not seen them either.
I didn't even know that.
But they do find it sus that you do know what Air Bud is. So like you went right to it.
That was a movie that it's relevant and to where my kids were at, and I don't know if I've seen it, but I'm certainly aware of it.
I mean, you look more like a Marley and Me kind of guy.
I haven't seen Marley and Me. We did watch, again, this shows my age. We coerce our kids to watch the movies we liked as kids. So they've seen like Beethoven and then like the old slapstick kids sports movies like Big Green or Little Giants or The Sandlot. Like we make them watch all
Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks. All of them. They're making a new series of that. I don't know how I feel about that.
I didn't know that.
Disney Plus, man, they're reviving every franchise they can.
The Mandalorian and Hamilton, the only two things I've seen. And WandaVision, of course.
I started watching Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier. That was pretty good.
Those are also two superheroes I don't care about.
You have some strong
I am
superheroes.
Soviet and I have a bionic arm. So what?
Yeah.
mean, there's people flying around who can move planets.
It's true. They're definitely in that like Black Widow like segment of people who are there and try really hard, but aren't like in super suits or gods or gamma infused green giants.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with like Batman versus Superman. It was like kind of like, okay, I mean, we really had to try for Batman to be able to defeat Superman because, like, I mean, he's apparently a guy.
Apparently, if you give Batman enough time left alone and nobody caring about the fact that he's setting up traps across an entire city, I've always despised that argument about Batman, where everybody's like, "Well, if you give him enough time," I'm like, "You give everybody enough time." You know, come on now, that's not a strong argument. All right, so all my mushrooms are cooking nicely. I'm gonna dump the blue cheese in now. We've been talking a lot. I don't know where you're at in the recipe now.
My sauce is got everything in it, and it's starting to just thicken.
Awesome. So I'm going to add my beef broth. Gonna kick my heat up. Get a little bit of my cream.
Yeah, I'm really curious how the aioli is going to play with this sauce.
Well, the aioli, I mean, like with the one that's, you won't get a lot on the steak from the aioli. Like I said, it's mostly there for crust purposes. You'll get a little bit of something there, but the expectation, as best as my understanding of it, without having done it before, is that it shouldn't play a huge factor. It's a similar way, like if you use mustard as a binder when you're smoking food, you don't get a ton of the flavor, if any, from the mustard, especially when you get like the smoke involved in that one. But here it's really about using the as counterpoints. So you'll have the steak with the mushrooms and the blue cheese and the cream and all those rich fatty things. And you still have a really fatty aioli, but it has that lemon and rosemary, and that's gonna be for the asparagus. I said you could put it in a ramekin. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna pour mine over the top of the asparagus because that's how I roll. Again, fewer dishes. That's a lesson I learned over time. My wife used to give me the hardest time because when I'd cook, I'd use like every dish available. And then I realized I kept doing all the dishes. And so that scaled back. And now I own, it doesn't even matter. I always own the dishes because in my opinion, I'm the only one who can load our dishwasher right. And so it's my thing. Like at the end of the night, I'll do all the dishes, listen to podcasts. It's my Zen time when I just kind of prep to go to bed at 9:30 or whatever happens.
So we should add OCD to Enneagram 7, huh? Playful and everything should be exactly where it belongs in the dishwasher or I'll kill you. All right, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
I also want to pull out a metaphor here. We were just talking about the Batman to Superman kind of thing and how you learned is through your cooking odyssey. And I think there's a lot to be said for that, where pretty much everybody with a little bit of effort can quickly become Batman in the kitchen.
Yes.
It is not hard to make a good dish. Now, to efficiently do it at scale and in, the best way, like delivering consistency, that's where you start to become Superman or Superwoman.
Yeah,
super
absolutely.
That person is super person.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny. I'll have people like who will text me like out of nowhere, like, "Hey, I'm about to cook these steaks. How do I do it?" And I'm like, Google it. Like, YouTube, cook a steak. Like, you're gonna find something on there, right? Like, I'm always like, oh no, I don't have time to teach you all this in the 30 seconds that you want me to information dump on you. Whereas you can follow a video in your kitchen, like we're doing right now, and learn how to cook. Heck, I can just tell them, Google unicorn chef steak, and I guarantee you'll find something in there. I do that because I feel like this interaction is a lot like reading all the recipes you find now, where every recipe isn't a recipe. It's actually a blog about a recipe, the memories and associations and the deep childhood trauma that led to it.
I scroll to the bottom.
My wife's like, there's a click.
Where's the recipe? Where's the recipe? Where's the recipe?
Absolutely. My wife's like, there's a button. I'm like, there's not buttons anymore. They don't get the engagement if there's a button that gets to the bottom. They want the They want you
Oh,
to scroll
hey.
past all their ads.
What were you doing with the cream?
Oh, you add it into the sauce.
You got to tell me.
You said you put everything in, and it was listed in the recipes for everything.
Clearly, I lied.
You did. I
Quality
trusted
control,
you.
man. Quality control.
I trusted you.
Trust but verify.
I trust but verify. Now you may, if you've already reduced down quite a bit, you may want to add a little more to allow that to happen. But
oh no, I now need to reduce down with the cream, so I need another probably about 3 minutes.
Yeah, we're good.
Other than that, I am ready to go. Assuming I've done everything else I'm supposed to do.
I mean, we've talked about everything else at this point, and I'm feeling good. I feel sad for my asparagus. It doesn't look happy. You win some.
Kind of wilted.
Oh yeah. It spent a little too long in the hot tub type of look going on.
That's why. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do mine on the stovetop, because I could kind of raise and lower the temperature as I was seeing it and timing where we're at.
Yeah, that's smarter than me, and that's why you're a veteran of doing this, and I'm not. So.
I think you are the first episode of season 2, technically.
Oh, that's awesome. Happy season premiere, everybody. I hope you guys have had fun so far, and that I hope you guys like mushrooms and blue cheese, because not everybody does.
Yeah, fuck them.
Alrighty. Might take it a little bit longer to reduce here, so we'll give it that. I'll go ahead and pull the steak and asparagus out. It's funny, and when we were having the technical issues, and before switching my phone, I asked my wife to go grab I bought her a newer MacBook Air recently, and then I realized the webcam I have is a standard USB connection, and it wasn't going to connect to it, and so I'll have to buy an adapter or a dongle or something. If you ever invite me on this again.
You'll be back. You'll be back. It may be 2024, but you'll be back.
It books out. It's hard. You're a popular guy.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
Are you a mess with your food while it cooks person?
What do you mean by mess with my food while it cooks?
Well, my sauce is reducing, but I'm still stirring and kicking it around. I don't need to. It's totally unnecessary, but I feel better when I move things around.
No, again, I don't have your OCD thing. I interact as much as I feel like it needs it. Otherwise, no, I don't touch it. My sauce is not the right consistency and flavor that I want, so that's where I'm now dialing it in.
Okay, gotcha. It does.
Go on.
Any more questions from our audience?
I've just commissioned a book from Janine called Aioli in the Bedroom. But let's see. Other than that, all right. She comments it'll sell millions of copies. Like said, literally millions. She wanted to make an R-rated calendar called Spread that featured recipes for dips and spreads paired with pinup photography. I wouldn't have done it with dips and spreads, although I do like the double entendre.
I was going to say, there's a lot of euphemism there.
I don't think there's anything euphemistic, my friend.
Fair enough.
Sometimes a thing is just what it sounds like.
There you go.
Oh, no, you know what I want to see? All right, Janine, you know what I want to see on this? So this has been a meme for a while where they pull up the recipe from the 70s and it's this is Jell-O with hot dogs sticking out of it. I want to see something like that, where it's the tawdry 1970s. I can't believe they actually ate it. They didn't understand that food didn't have to come in a can or involve Jell-O. That plus something R-rated. That's the combination I want to see.
So to break the mood on that utterly,
Are your children in the vicinity?
my last grandparent, who I loved dearly, she passed away a couple years ago. But I ended up getting a box from my mom that was it was all of her recipes that she had collected from like the 40s forward. And it's many of these very interesting recipes you're talking about where they're using very off the wall ingredients to create rather strange, like tomato juice cakes and stuff like that. It's just, you're talking to, people who had to be really resourceful during, the Depression and things like that, and that they just kind of came up with new stuff. And so I've read many of those recipes as I own them, and they were just ones that interested her. So,
all right, I am ready.
You're ready? All right, let's see.
I am ready to plate and eat.
Excellent. So, how'd your steak look? Can you show us your steak? Can you show us your meat? Oh, that's beautiful. So I got that right there.
Ooh.
Oh, be careful.
Yeah, I only picked one small filet mignon because I'm only making steak for one.
I did one small New York. I aged 2 of them, so one's going to go age a little bit longer for funsies. And let's see how I did on the cook here. Plate. I personally, whenever I'm plating a steak, I like to slice it before it hits the plate. I think the presentation looks nicer.
Hey,
again,
you gotta cut it anyway for your kids.
Oh, I do, absolutely. Bite-sized portions for everybody. It's funny because my kids will thank me one day because I have them eat good food. They don't like it right now, but they'll appreciate it in the future. And that's what I keep telling myself.
Yeah, I got a teenage daughter, so I hear you.
So one thing I'm going to note about the dry aging is it takes the heat faster. So I'm much closer to like a medium well on this, which is not normally where I would have cooked it. How do you like the steak? Is that good?
I haven't had to try it yet. I only had some of the sauce. I want to try it. I got to plate with you first before I can try it.
There we go. So I think I heard some. Oh, I got an escape down here. This should go good. You might see them appear live on here. We'll find out. Sounds like the 3-year-old. His name's Zeke.
Hi, Zeke.
Hey, Zeke, come here. You have your ball? Yeah, nobody else is out in here.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a bite while we're waiting.
Yeah, go do it. Do it here.
I can't wait.
Okay, that's all you.
Yikes!
Is it hot?
Nope. I almost bit it. Totally messed up my plating. It was all pretty. Yeah, that'll do, pig. That'll do.
There we go. See, this is in theory executed here. So it doesn't look like much when it's on there, but you got the asparagus and the sauce and steak and.
Oh, you ready for the picture?
Oh yeah, let's see the picture. Wait, do I need to hold it up?
We can do the pic. Yeah, hold it up. Get your face in there. Ready? Boom. All right. So we can go eat this and lose the audience. Zach, tell us about how the charity again.
So Orphan Outreach, and they are a larger organization who supports many, many orphanages. This guy's not one of them, but there we go. You say hi? No? Okay, I'll put you back down. Oh, you want some water? Okay. Juice. So sorry, I gotta field the child here, but
no, not a problem.
So Orphan Outreach focuses on dealing with orphans in various countries, usually in third world conditions. Typically focusing on kids who suffer from diseases such as HIV or AIDS or any other of them. They're all over the world. And my specific one, again, here you go, buddy, is Gansabra, which is, again, it's a home in northeast India in the state of Mizoram. And again, beautiful, wonderful kids there. More than just kids from India, they also take in, because Nepal's so close, kids from Nepal and pretty much whoever shows up on their doorstep that they can take care of. Oh, man. I'm happy. Also, I'm going to burn the remainder of my sauce here.
Zach, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Tune in next week. We will have Lena back as our returning Unicorn Chef champion.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to watching it, and I appreciate you guys having me on here.